Hi, this is Carl. This is in response to sometimes people, evangelicals or Protestants, they have objections about the graven image in the Catholic Church, or it's idolatry. It is not, but anyways, I'll get into when I was a former Pentecostal. I'm going to use my New King James version for you guys out there. So I'm not using, but it's the same Bible anyways. But because some people say, because I read it when I was a Pentecostal before, yeah, and some people wrote to me and saying it's idolatry, and blah blah blah. But when I went across some verses and I checked, okay, you can read it through. You want to check me, but it say in verses. It does say Deuteronomy 4:16, don't make a graven image, and also thou shalt not in Exodus 20 somewhere or 19. It tells thou shalt not make graven image, but there's a reason for that, because he didn't want to have idolatry. But if you check Exodus 25:18, okay. God commands Moses to make an image on the top of the Ark of the Covenant, okay? Huge 5-foot cherubims, okay? And those were statues, were source of grace and power for God's people. And in Numbers 21, verses 8 and 9, Moses and his people, as you read along, were in the wilderness and began to rebel against God. Okay, God sends a plague among them, and Moses starts to intercede for them. God commands Moses again, make a brazen serpent, and put it on a pole, and when the children of Israel looked to it, they were healed. Okay. John 3, 11 and 12, as we read these verses, it's a type of image, the coming Christ. Okay. Nevertheless, the point is, God uses stuff. Okay, he uses the physical world to be instruments whereby he brings his blessings to his people. Okay, Catholics don't believe in worshiping idols. It's those or the saints or stuff like that. They're just the persons that were there. They were the saints were people to follow. They were Christ imitators. So there's a book about the imitation of Christ, to follow that path, but not to follow them. Follow Christ. Or even Mary, for that. She's not God. The Catholics don't believe she's God. She's just the mother. And unfortunately, Protestants, they don't understand everything. So it's sort of misunderstood by evangelicals. And, well, we'll see what time will tell. But even in the Old Testament, they do talk about that. And God had no form in the Old Testament, okay? But in the New Testament, he becomes an image. Because in John 1:1, okay, taken from this, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and in verse 14, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So there's a little something there for you. Read about it, and that's it. That's why I'm Catholic, because you got for evangelicals, there are hundreds of thousands of denominations. And when I was there, when I at Pentecostal, and I saw others were against each other, I said, this is not the church for me. There's something, yeah, they're following God. You guys are my brothers, but it's not the real church. The real church is the Catholic Church. It came from, the early hundreds, okay, when Peter gave the keys to the church, and it was the Catholic Church. So do your checkup, because the evangelical churches started in the 1500s. It's not then, it was back then, So that's it. Thank you.